Story 1. Spectator Mode. Explore the universe, different timelines and alternate universes. Watch historic moments, see dinosaurs, find out whether aliens exist, and see how humanity ends and what comes after. It would be incredible. Story 2. I want to take off my virtual reality goggles to find I have just been playing Earth. The human experience. Story 3. An unbelievable, mind-shattering plane of existence so different from this one that humans cannot even conceive of it. Story 4. Sadly, I do not believe this, but I would love to be reunited with anyone who means the world to me, including my beloved pets. I want it to be a beautiful paradise with no sadness, hurt, or pain, where every animal that has been abused can be present and feel love. Story 5. A pleasant reincarnation that includes a joyful reunion with all my former dogs and cats. Story 6. A museum gallery of every good and bad memory of my life, so I can replay them from start to finish and pause when I need to appreciate what I had not noticed before. Story 7. My wife will be there on the other side. She is already waiting. I have to raise our 2-year-old son first. Story 8. Some of us have had really rough lives, so the thought of the peace, love, and forgiveness we did not receive on earth is extremely precious there. I had a near-death experience, and that is exactly what I experienced. It took me months to stop longing to return, and even in my darkest moments I still long to go home. There is no shame. Story 9. I want to be able to do all the things I did not have time or money for in this lifetime. Story 10. I would love to wake up in the field that lies just beyond the Rainbow Bridge. The grass is the softest, greenest you have ever seen. The sun is shining. Birds, squirrels, and all the other pets who crossed before are there, and they come running toward you. All your beloved pets are so happy to see you. They are young and healthy again without pain or sorrow. You sit down on the grass and pet them all for eternity. Story 11. I want to become part of a universal consciousness with greatly enhanced senses, intellect, and emotional capacity. Story 12. I just want to be able to see and hold my deceased cat again. Story 13. I am keen on the idea of having the option to start over from a prior save point, live my life making different choices, and see a whole new outcome. Story 14. Going to heaven and being greeted by loved ones you have missed. Story 15. I wish I believed in an afterlife. My wife has been gone for 3 years now, and the idea of living another 30 or more years without her is depressing. Imagining seeing her again would give me something to look forward to. However, I do not believe there is anything. Story 16. I will be pretty annoyed if I have to continue in any form of consciousness after death. Story 17. Different lives are like parallel universes. If I am done with this life, I get another with a different story. Story 18. Nothing. I just want to sleep forever and not have to deal with anything. I'm really sorry you're feeling so overwhelmed. If you are thinking about harming yourself or feel unsafe, please contact emergency services or a crisis line now. In the United States, call or text 988 for the Suicide and Crisis Lifeline. If you are elsewhere, contact your local emergency number or a crisis service in your country. If you can, tell someone you trust how you feel. Would you like to talk more about what's going on or for me to help find resources? Story 19. The good place version of the afterlife at the end seems like a good one. I think I would like that. Story 20. I want to be with all the people I have lost and will eventually lose. I would like it to be through reincarnation, to ascend, see the people I love, relive what I have learned, and continue learning as I go. Always have the chance to see those kindred spirits again. Story 21. Reincarnation into the fictional world I built, but not during a period of heavy civil unrest or natural disasters. Story 22. While I do not believe this will be the case, I want a meadow. In this meadow, I will not have to deal with bugs or anything unpleasant like that. The weather and time of day will always be perfect for my mood. There will be a farmhouse with a porch and a swing. I will have a garden where I can grow all my favorite plants, and there will be flower fields all over the meadow. Inside the farmhouse, I will have a very comfortable bed, but I will not sleep there often because I would rather lie in the grass and stargaze or watch the clouds drift by. Story 23. Sandbox mode. Want to drive a car at 200 kilometers per hour through traffic? Go ahead. Crash? You can decide whether to pass through it without colliding or crash without consequences. Maybe the traffic is stationary. Who knows? It's your sandbox. Want to be with Katy Perry as she was in 2007? There she is. Want to eat the greatest Michelin star meal? Be my guest. Want to lick the bottom of a garbage bin and taste it for precisely 0.2 seconds and then have the flavor wiped from your taste buds? Yes, you can do that too. Want to experience playing Beethoven's Fifth? What about playing it in front of a giant football stadium? Sure. What about exploring the stars and planets and finding out if anything is beyond the edge of the universe? Yes, you can. Sandbox mode would be fucking awesome. I spend a fair bit of time thinking about it. Story 24. I am not sure. I am probably just a ghost roaming around Earth with my best friends. Story 25. I've had faith for quite some time. I want to take my last breath on Earth and my next breath in heaven. I want to see Jesus and thank him for sparing me on several occasions and thank him for all he has done for me. I know faith in Christ is not everyone's cup of tea, and that is okay. I love you all anyway. I want to see my friends and family who have gone on before and meet my big sister Mary, who passed as a baby. I wonder what kind of little brother I would have been. I want to see my father free of his wheelchair, walking straight. Well, not tall. He was kind of short. And I want to see all my dogs and cats and zebra finches. The fish, not so much. Especially, I want to be rid of this constant pain and loneliness. It weighs on me like an anchor, holds my spirit down, and makes me wonder why I stay. I'm sorry. I know it sounds like whining, but sometimes I get going and it is hard to stop. Too long. Didn't read. It is okay. It does not matter anyhow. Story 26. Being a spiritual entity that is allowed to explore the beauty of the cosmos. Story 27. This won't be an original thought, but I can't see how the idea of heaven could make sense as we usually imagine it. Suppose the ideal heaven reunites you with cherished family, friends, and all your pets and so on. Unless each of those were personal, instantiated clones in separate realities, it would not work. For example, if you and your ex both loved the same dog, who gets the dog? What if you still love your ex? Are they destined to be with you in your heaven but not in theirs? If in your heaven they are with you and in theirs they are not, the split undermines heaven and makes it less satisfying. Your loved one is effectively split in two. Dante described heaven as meeting God, becoming one with God, and leaving all earthly attachments behind. That makes sense to me, but it is sad because everything we hold dear, our partner, our children, and so on, would be let go. Do they become meaningless at death? If you cease to be yourself, can you even experience an afterlife? I struggle to find an afterlife concept that is not paradoxical. I'm not a philosopher, so I have not thought about this deeply, but either an afterlife is a false reality or it renders everything you lived for meaningless. I tend to believe we simply die and that is it. Would I like to live on? Of course. I do not want to cease existing, but I cannot see how survival is possible without becoming something other than yourself. Story 28. The thought of an eternal existence terrifies me. Story 29. I want to see all my deceased loved ones, including animals, please. Story 30. Whatever it is, I hope I retain my sense of self. As far as I'm concerned, when my brain breaks down at death, I cease to exist and my mind is annihilated. If there is any sort of afterlife, I want to feel like myself and not be absorbed into the unknown and digested. Maybe I would end up as something else, like reincarnation, but not necessarily recycled back into Earth. I want to know what it is like to go from being human to a cosmic being that comprehends time on a scale of millions of years. Story 31. After my wife and I die, I would love the opportunity to live another lifetime with her. Whether spiritually, through reincarnation, or in an alternate reality where our consciousnesses ascend after we leave our bodies. As long as she is there, that is all that matters. Story 32. I want life to be an elementary school for humans. When you die, you wake up in a San Junipero-style simulation in the far future. The ups and downs of real life are what shape your personality and wisdom. If you were born and raised in paradise, you would be doomed to repeat the past. When you wake up in the simulation, you have the education that real life provides and an understanding of what matters. That is what I hope for. I would live in that paradise simulation eternally, but very differently, and try to do good. Story 33. I imagine sitting in a pub half filled with the important people in my life. Grandma, mom, dad, brother, sister, and friends. There's a fireplace, music is playing, and it's cold and rainy outside. Each time the door swings open, another old friend walks in for a long hug, a beer, and a laugh that lasts forever. Story 34. It is strange how pets are a common theme. I miss my family and hope to be with them again. I especially hope to see the pets. Story 35. Something better than our limited human minds can conceive. Story 36. I want to know everything about the universe that we cannot know with current science. Where it came from and what caused it, where it is going, and what happens when all energy is expended. I have watched videos about this a lot. Story 37. Not reincarnation. Fuck, I don't want to do this again. Knowing my luck, I'll probably end up in some underdeveloped country in the middle of a civil war. Story 38. I want my family and all the pets I have had to greet me wherever the afterlife is, running to meet me. Story 39. I don't believe in any religion or spirituality, but God, would it be amazing if ghosts were real? Story 40. I like the idea of heaven, but it is likely just pure nothingness. Story 41. As long as there is no more tinnitus, I can get some proper rest. Story 42. I would like reincarnation, but only if I can ensure I have a normally functioning body that does not develop 3 new incurable health issues per year. At this rate, I can only hope to live past 50. Story 43. I have seen several people die or be near death in my work as a nurse, and they all talk about family or friends they loved. I hope the afterlife is a release from the anger, sadness, and pain that are inextricably tied to being human, an eternal extension of the happiest moments of our lives. Story 44. I never really wanted there to be anything after death. All the options I had heard did not sound very enjoyable. Then I had my daughter and discovered a new kind of sadness. Even if neither of us dies prematurely, there will still be a large part of her life I never get to see. I will not be there to celebrate her victories, to pick her up after her failures, to help her as she grows older, or to hold her hand when the lights go out. I did not have her until I was 35, which shortens that time frame considerably. If anything, I would be content with at least a window through which I could check in on her from time to time. It would be an added bonus if I could somehow let her know that I am still there. Story 45. Virtually anything other than reincarnation. I don't want to have to do this shit again. Story 46. The ability to return to Earth as a ghost and haunt the people who wronged me. Story 47. I have always joked that if there is a version of heaven, I would want a place where I can watch documentaries about crimes that remained unsolved on Earth. Who killed JonBenet Ramsey and why? Who killed the boy in the box? I want to know the answers to all the strange mysteries I have wondered about in life. Story 48. I do not want a religious version of heaven or hell. Those feel judgmental and stressful. I desire peace, quiet, health, and safety. I want to walk peacefully through fields of flowers and forests, surrounded by gentle golden light and soft clouds. I wish to visit and help the living. I want to travel quickly and peacefully throughout the universe, endlessly seeing, hearing, and learning. I will be with positive, kind beings or be alone. No struggle, fear, punishment, crying, or noisy judgment. I want to be strong, healthy, youthful, beautiful, intelligent, safe, happy, gentle, and harmless, walking on peaceful pathways, free and at peace. Story 49. An endless beach holiday with pleasant, warm but not hot weather. Story 50. My dogs. I loved other people's dogs. I would want to live with them and spoil them. I would just want to escape the cycle and learn without all the strife and struggle in this universe. Story 51. I want every religion to be true. If you are an atheist, you could go to a void or be reincarnated, or you could choose any religion to follow. I think that would be cool and no one would be wrong. Story 52. I want to be reincarnated and for my mother to be with me again in my next life, because the thought of any existence without her fills me with deep grief. Story 53. I will see all my loved ones who passed before me, including my pets. I want everyone to be kind, healthy, strong, happy, and at peace. I want absolute peace and love, without anger or negativity. I want to be able to move between different weather, temperatures, and landscapes by just thinking about it. I want to remember any past lives and be able to return to live another life if I wish. I want to be able to watch over my loved ones. I do not ask for much. Story 54. I have always wished for a great computer or a person who truly has all the answers to every one of my questions, big or small. What was the meaning of life? How many species have we not discovered? Is there life on other planets? Did Jenny from 5th grade love me back? Did my brother lie to me in the summer of 2005? There are some answers, especially the small, niche, or unique ones, that we will probably never know in life. That is why, after death, I wish I could at least find these answers, even if only for myself in the afterlife or just before a big black void. Story 55. I am praying that I will be somewhere with my dad. I do not have very long. Story 56. Endless answers to any question I can imagine, whether good or bad, would satisfy me immensely. Story 57. My grandma is waiting for me with open arms and all the pets I have ever loved. Story 58. I wish ghosts were real and that I could be one. My biggest regret is that I will not see humanity expand beyond the Milky Way. Being a ghost would make that possible. I want there to be a way for people to accept when their time is over and simply fade into a dream. Story 59. Unironically, I hope there is a StarCraft summary screen of your life. Number of bowel movements, tons of ice cream digested, number and identity of people who had a crush on you, biggest missed opportunity, longest lucky streak. Story 60. I'm not sure where I fall spiritually. I was raised Christian my whole life. I do believe there is something out there that created life. I don't believe a good Japanese man who practices Buddhism should go to hell because he didn't believe in Jesus. I don't believe a Christian like Hitler should go to heaven. I also don't believe you can be an asshole for 90 years and repent on your deathbed. I don't like the idea of eternal flame and torment, regardless of what people did. I would prefer that sinners simply have nothingness after death. No existence, no consciousness. When I die, I would like to open my eyes young and healthy, wearing clean clothes, walk through a door, and be greeted by my family who have passed, friends and pets. I would hope to see the atheist neighbor who fostered troubled youth, the Muslim doctor who did hundreds of pro bono surgeries, the agnostic firefighter who died on duty, and others. Story 61. My dog and all the people and animals are never loved. Story 62. I want to see my dog again. I miss his sweet face very much. Story 63. A game over message. Then I take off this incredibly advanced virtual reality headset and return to living my normal life as an alien member of an extraterrestrial civilization who enjoys pretending to be human for fun. Story 64. I want to meet my father and see my brother again. He passed away in August, and it has been hell. Story 65. Answers about how the pyramid was built and information about the civilization that created it. Story 66. I want nothingness, like before I was born. But after seeing one reply, I would like to chill forever with all the fur babies I had. That sounds like heaven. Just them, no people. I've had enough of people. Story 67. I want to become some kind of god and just watch the world, ideally with the people I love and some tasty popcorn. Story 68. We explore the universe. Team up with your loved ones to explore it together after they cross over. We discover that our true plane of existence is one level above our current one. We explore together until we decide to try a planet together. We are born and experience life connected to one another in some way. We return to the higher plane, remembering the other lives we shared. We explore further and then decide on our next entry into existence. Some lives are epic, some are terrible, and some are just fine. A different level of consciousness makes eternity comprehensible and meaningful. We learn and grow. What's next? Maybe we know, maybe we don't. Story 69. A long table full of friends and loving family, and food you can eat without gaining weight. Note to God or whomever is reading. Not all the family, just the good ones. Pets are there. We have a fabulous time, even though time has no meaning. Then we learn all there is to know, and there is a big party. We come back to Earth and do it all over again, this time doing better. Story 70. I want to see my baby, love and hold him, and do all the motherly things I never had the chance to do. I want to be reunited with him and my other loved ones. Story 71. It would be awesome if the Mormons were right and I got into the super heaven they describe. Story 72. I really wish I could see my dad and my nana again and hug them tight. Story 73. Review life, learn from mistakes, relax with family and friends until I feel ready to engage with life again. Enter spectator mode. Rinse and repeat. Story 74. I would like to spend time with the family and friends I have lost, my dogs, and my boyfriend who died. Story 75. I do not want every person on earth to immediately follow me after I die. Story 76. I am sorry you are feeling this way. Are you thinking about suicide right now? If you are in immediate danger, call your local emergency number now. If you are in the United States, call or text 988 for the Suicide and Crisis Lifeline. Please consider contacting someone you trust or a mental health professional. I can help find resources if you want. Honestly, nothing. I am 54, and this life has been so hard. I really hope it is just over. Story 77. If I could choose what happened to me after death, I would choose to be with my closest friends and family who have also died. Story 78. To reunite with every person and animal that I loved. Story 79. It might sound silly, but I want to see my dog as soon as I die and be reunited with all my pets. Story 80. Either a spectator mode where I can observe events after my death, including alternate realities and so on, or a classic heavenly paradise where everything is wonderful and all my deceased loved ones and pets are present, or being reincarnated at another point in time, for example in the Roman Empire or ancient China. Story 81. The two things I truly want are be able to see all my family, animals, and friends who passed before me, waiting for me one last time so I can say goodbye. I never got to do that before they died. To understand the lesson that my life was meant to teach. Story 82. I want the truth behind my trials and tribulations. Who was real and who was fake. You would probably be surprised to find that the closest people to you are the fakest. Story 83. I want to time travel with my dog and loved ones. I want to visit anywhere in the universe at any time. It would be cool to see the history and future of everything. Story 84. Love. I want God to explain why He created me the way He did. I want to see my loved ones who have passed away. I want to reunite with my pets. I want to understand the history of the universe and how it came to be. Story 85. If there is life after death, it invalidates the work I put into this life. Why should I pursue my dreams when I have infinite time to do them later? This life being finite is what gives it meaning. Story 86. Nothing. Anything else would mean an eternity of consciousness, and that is horrifying. Story 87. I would like to come back as myself in my mid-20s with everything else as it was when I died, and with developer tools enabled. Like when you beat a video game, it is fun to come back with infinite health and money and just try things. Story 88. I'd like to find out this is a role-playing game simulation and that life is actually good and warm, and that the suffering is just part of a game we are playing. Story 89. I need a Spotify Wrapped of my life. I want to know everything that I did not get to find out when I was alive. Story 90. I do not believe in the afterlife, but some studies have shown that you experience flashbacks of your life moments after you die. I find that very comforting, knowing you will have a replay of your life when you go. Story 91. Speaking from a practical point of view, I cannot imagine anything that would both be consistent with the laws of nature and beneficial to my continued consciousness. I would rather it be nothing. Story 92. I am looking forward to seeing all of the people and animals I have loved and, hopefully, many whom I never met because they died when I was either too young or had not yet been born. I believe in Jesus and God and look forward to seeing and talking with them. Story 93. I would just like to spend it with my wife. Whatever form that takes, I could not care less. Story 94. I like the spectator mode comment, and I would like to expand on it. Crazy theory. I would like a larger perspective of the universe. I want to zoom out and see the bigger picture to observe whether my theory is correct. I propose that the universe is essentially infinity compounded on infinity, expressed in binary terms. Everything either is or is not. Existence is like an extrapolated Schrödinger's cat experiment combined with the double-slit experiment. Things are because we observe them, and because the universe observes itself. Energy and matter obey known laws of physics with or without our observation. The double-slit experiment may imply that energy is sentient. If that is true, the entire universe is aware of itself to some degree and therefore obeys itself. My theory proposes that existence is defined by opposites in every conceivable context. If you are male in this existence, the theory implies you would exist as female in the inverse reality. I think the Big Bang did not expand in only one temporal direction. I think it expanded in two directions, one forming the forward-moving reality we are familiar with, and one moving in the opposite temporal direction, aging backward toward a great implosion instead of a Big Bang. It is like existence moves along an infinity symbol in opposite directions, approaching a point of complete oneness before separating again. Big Bang for us, great implosion for them. To be clear, this is not a separate alternate universe but the inverse of our current universe, already what we would consider dead and moving backward toward birth. It would not make sense to us because it is literally the opposite of our reality. Remember, us and them is really just is versus is not. The notion of duality is familiar, yin and yang, good versus evil, or binary 1 versus 0. Everything either is or is not. If something is not here, it is there. I think the universe, or at least the version we interact with, moves in a cyclical pattern that will eventually implode onto itself. That could be what black holes do. Concentrate energy and matter toward virtual nothingness via extremely strong gravity. I think the Big Bang, or rather the events leading up to it, involved a universal-scale black hole that imposed enormous gravity on everything, compressing it into a dense sphere that could not contain itself and then exploded into what we now know as the universe. I am not sure I have explained this theory well, but if you follow, please let me know your thoughts. Story 95. I do not mind what afterlife there is. I mostly focus on the walk there. I like to imagine walking along a long sidewalk through a dreamy park until you come to a bench. On it sits a hipster-looking man wearing a man bun, a tie-dye shirt, and cargo shorts. This man is essentially God but very relaxed and does not like to make a big show of it. He offers you a seat beside him and chats with you for a while. You may talk about whatever you wish. Any question you ask, he answers. When you decide you are done, he sends you on your way with a smile and a wave before returning to birdwatching. I do not know. Something about that feels nice. Story 96. I would want a statistics list showing how many times I have urinated, how many hours I have spent cooking, sleeping, and so on, how many books I have read, and similar information. I would want to be able to ask any question I have, to view my loved ones, and to watch any moment from all of history again, not just moments from my life. Story 97. I think this is a question we should ask more often. I would like to be allowed into the Great Archive, a place where all possible information about the universe is recorded until the universe's heat death or until a major event such as another Big Bang. All the questions you have had throughout your life would be answered. What happened to your high school crush? Who really killed President Kennedy? What do other stars and planets look like? Will humanity ever invent faster-than-light travel? You would be given as much time in the archive as you need to satisfy your curiosity, and then you would be ready to depart this realm. Story 98. I remember being worried about death when I was little. Then my grandfather told me something I'll never forget to comfort me. He said, "Do you remember what it was like before you were born? Iyan suarat. No. He said, I imagine that's what it will be like after you die. I have found great peace in that. I work in healthcare, so I am not worried about death, but after seeing so much death in my career, I am a little frightened about how I will die. There is nothing I can do about it, so I meditate and try to focus on things I can control. Meditation and psychedelics like mushrooms have helped me. Story 99. This is going to sound really dark, but nothing? Just let me eat. Damn it. I am tired. Story 100. Wake up and discover that this entire experience was just a hallucinogenic trip. Wander around the house, check on the roommates, and make some breakfast. Chat about whether we want to drop Earth again or try something new tonight. Story 101. Honestly, I would like to see an ending screen that plays the player's favorite music in the background and displays all the statistics achieved. Thanks a bunch for sticking around till the end of the video. Remember to subscribe, and until next time, stay awesome and goodbye.